I just fight real fighters.
The truth is, these sports-washing, shady characters are paying you hundreds of millions of dollars to stop our fight from happening, and you're screwing over all your Mexican fans.
Canelo Alvarez just humiliated Jake Paul on Instagram Live, and as expected, Jake is already spiraling out of control.
Pay attention in anything.
Poor Jake, as always, was hyping up a fight in his usual delusional way, one that Canelo never even agreed to. Why would he? Canelo is busy defending world titles, not entertaining a YouTuber who treats boxing like a hobby.
Around with Canelo.
After Canelo's video went viral, the world saw Jake shut down another fake news headline. Just a month into the new year, he had no choice. The fight was hyped like a Hollywood blockbuster, but never made it past the trailer stage. The buildup was grand, but the showdown never happened.
To fight Canelo. I'm just saying what he.
I hear you. Then why is he not fighting Canelo? I mean, it'd be a fucking 30-second payday for.
Jake Paul versus Canelo Alvarez was supposedly set for May 3, 2025, at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, a date so perfectly timed that even the universe rolled its eyes. Cinco de Mayo weekend, a sacred time in boxing history reserved for legends. And Jake thought he was stepping into greatness. Canelo didn't even RSVP the detail. Didn't seem like a coincidence. It felt like a litmus test. Then came Netflix, suddenly stepping into the boxing scene as if it had just discovered the sport. Their first major boxing event promised big money, big marketing, and big exposure. But the biggest question remained: who was funding this madness? Reports swirled of a $100 million plus offer for Canelo. But let's be real. Where was that money coming from? Netflix? A mystery billionaire? A random Saudi investor? Nobody knew, and the whole spectacle started feeling more like fiction than reality.
Of the information, May 3rd, coming out yesterday, I don't think was coincidence in the sense that perhaps there was a little litmus test.
The whole setup felt shady, unnecessary, and about as legitimate as a Jake Paul boxing masterclass. Then came the biggest red flag, the weight. Canelo, a 168-pound super middleweight, had spent years dominating world-class fighters in his division. Jake Paul, a 200-pound cruiserweight, built his resume fighting retired MMA fighters and washed-up boxers. That's a 32 pounds difference, massive in boxing terms. It's like an elephant fighting a cheetah, two completely different species, making the matchup feel more like a spectacle than a real fight.
It was all but done, right? How did it go from all but done to a change of heart? No, putting it out there to maybe try to get to see, how the public would react to it.
Jake either wanted Canelo to bulk up and slow down or hope to convince the world this was a fair fight. Either way, it reeked of desperation. But the media circus devoured it. ESPN, The Ring, even Eddie Hearn fueled speculation. Yet the only two voices that truly mattered, Canelo and Jake's own promotion, MVP, stayed completely silent, making the whole spectacle even more suspicious.
Canelo, Jake Paul's made a lot of noise, especially last week. Do you take any notice of him?
Who?
Jake Paul. Do you take any notice of him? He said
The team.
Jake either wanted Canelo to bulk up and slow down or hope to convince the world this was a fair fight. Either way, it reeked of desperation. But the media circus devoured it. ESPN, The Ring, even Eddie Hearn fueled speculation. Yet, the only two voices that truly mattered, Canelo and Jake's own promotion, MVP, stayed completely silent, making the whole spectacle even more suspicious.
Is not done until it is absolute.
Here's the reality. Canelo doesn't chase gimmicks for money. He earns $40 million per fight facing elite boxers. No social media prankster required. His name alone sells arenas and generates millions. Meanwhile, Jake Paul relies on big names just to stay relevant. Without them, the hype fades and his place in the boxing world disappears.
I'm thinking about is why you guys asking me for that especially fight, Jake Paul, please guys.
That's where the Butterbean problem comes in. Remember Butterbean, the fan-favorite novelty fighter who dominated until he faced real competition. That's Jake Paul in 2024. As long as he was knocking out retired UFC veterans, the illusion held. But then he fought Tommy Fury, a boxer his own size, and lost. No hype, no mystery, just cold reality. Jake Paul wasn't untouchable, wasn't a threat. He was just another guy using boxing for clout, and the magic was gone.
In 2 years we can talk, but
Because I think some people would love you for knocking him out. I think that's
maybe. Yeah, you're right.
Meanwhile, Canelo was locking in a 4-fight make-a-deal with Riyadh's season, bringing more money, prestige, and better fights than anything Jake Paul could offer. While Jake shouted into his phone about fantasy matchups, Canelo was negotiating real fights with Terence Crawford, Charlo, Bivol, and Benavidez, legacy-defining bouts that actually mattered in boxing.
Tweet from Turkey Al-Sheikh himself. He says, "Don't mess with the Lion." 4 fights for Canelo with Riyadh season. The deal is done. A lion doesn't lose sleep over the opinion of a sheep. Fear the lion, not the...
4 days before the supposed fight night, while Jake Paul's team kept fueling the illusion, Canelo Alvarez casually went live on Instagram and shut it all down. No dramatic announcement, no lengthy statement, just 12 words that erased months of nonsense in an instant. That was it. No fluff, no sugarcoating. Just Canelo effortlessly bulldozing an entire PR stunt in real time. For weeks, Jake Paul and MVP hyped this fight like it was a done deal. Articles were published, social media was buzzing, and Jake even posted training clips as if he was genuinely preparing to face one of the greatest boxers alive. But with one simple line, Canelo shattered the fantasy, exposing the entire spectacle for what it really was, just another publicity stunt.
That tweet comes out, and immediately the thought is, holy shit, what the just happened? Because the previous offer was 3 fights for Canelo that apparently was done for, that he was washing away and rethinking because he was going to look to do other things because Canelo was supposedly going to fight Jake. Now it's 4.
The funniest part, the only ones who ever claimed this fight was real were Jake Paul, MVP, and a few conveniently vague sources. In March, reports surfaced about advanced talks between Jake and Canelo. The Ring, ESPN, and Eddie Hearn made speculative comments, but there was never an official confirmation. Yet, Jake's camp treated it as fact, pushing the illusion while the rest of the boxing world remained skeptical.
Don't pay attention on anything. In this YouTuber, I just fight real fighters. Don't f***ing around with Canelo.
And just in case anyone still thought this fight had a chance, Turkey Al-Sheikh stepped in to hammer the final nail in the coffin. Jake's biggest problem. Turkey Al-Sheikh hates crossover fights. He's never been subtle about it. The moment rumors of Jake Paul versus Canelo started swirling, Turkey wasted no time shutting it down. He retweeted a post from the Ring Asterisk, which, by the way, he owns, immediately dismissing the entire thing. And for anyone who somehow missed the message, he followed up on February 8, 2025, just 1 day after Canelo humiliated Jake on Instagram with a direct shot at influencer boxing. Asterisk, Canelo fights real fighters. Asterisk, that was it. No ambiguity, no wiggle room. Just a clear, public reminder that Jake Paul was never even in the conversation. The fantasy was over.
So we had a signed contract to fight. Here you can see Canelo's signature and my signature to the right. Claiming he's not fighting YouTubers. Bullshit. Look at the poster. We were announcing Tuesday, February 11th. Claiming he fights real fighters, but he's fighting Crawford, a 135-pound fighter, and running from a real fighter like David Benavidez.
This wasn't just about Jake Paul. Turkey Al-Sheikh has been on a mission to reclaim boxing from gimmicks and YouTube stunt fights. Since investing in the sport, Riyadh's season has been signing elite fighters and delivering stacked super fight cards. Real matchups that fans actually want to see, not spectacle-driven publicity stunts.
Me hungry squirrel chasing your next nut. The truth is these sports-washing shady characters are paying you hundreds of millions of dollars to stop our fight from happening because they couldn't fathom the fact that they can't create a bigger fight than me.
Jake Paul tried to gain credibility by fighting someone his age, size, and skill level, Tommy Fury, and lost. But the pushback against him didn't stop there. Even TKO, the parent company of UFC and WWE, wants nothing to do with him. Despite years of flip-flopping between attacking Dana White and begging for a UFC deal, Jake remains on the outside. He's trash fighter pay, challenged UFC stars, and called himself the savior of combat sports. Yet, when it comes to real opportunities with legitimate organizations, nobody seems interested in taking him seriously.
Like Tyson and
To try to get some
like that.
credibility back.
When he fought somebody that was actually his age and was actually a boxer and was actually his size, he lost.
Behind the scenes, Jake Paul wasn't even on their radar. While he boasted about making the biggest fights happen, TKO executives were in Riyadh meeting with Turki Al-Sheikh, Dana White, and WWE President Nick Khan. The message was clear. Jake Paul wasn't in the room because he simply wasn't part of the conversation.
Showdown in May, Cinco de Mayo weekend. At the same time as all of this, there is great interest from Turki Al-Sheikh and Riyadh season to put on a Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight. So these two conversations are happening somewhat in parallel.
The UFC and WWE have a strong partnership with Riyadh season, expanding globally and working with real power players in combat sports. Meanwhile, Jake Paul built his brand by attacking Dana White and the UFC. But now, as boxing shifts towards Saudi Arabia, he's realizing that his stunts don't work on the people who truly make the decisions.
Two-faced, lying, fucking nut job. You know, and yeah, me and Oscar are never going to be.
That's the brutal truth. Jake Paul doesn't fit into boxing's future. The gimmicks are fading, the sport is evolving, and real boxing is back. For daily updates on the latest in boxing, hit subscribe and stay tuned right here for more.